Apparently, a man just broke into our house and somebody took my photo.
One palm print solved this case. But by the time investigators found it, 12-year-old Polly Klaas had been dead for 2 months. Here's the investigation that changed America. October 1st, 1993, Petaluma, California. A 12-year-old girl named Polly Klaas was having a slumber party with two friends in her bedroom. Her mother and sister were asleep next door. Everything seemed normal. Everything seemed safe. Then a stranger with a knife climbed through the window. This is the investigation that shocked America and changed our entire justice system forever. Around 10:30 p.m., a tall bearded man burst into Polly's bedroom. He was holding a knife and a duffel bag. He ordered the girls to lie face down.
Okay, we were up in her room and we were talking. Suddenly this guy came in. He had a big knife, big knife, that nobody knew that. And he told us to be quiet and don't say anything. And there's a pause as I heard the screen door being shut.
Within minutes, the Petaluma police arrived. Then the FBI. What followed was one of the largest missing person searches in American history. Within 48 hours, 50,000 flyers were printed. Volunteers organized a command center. 4,000 people searched 1,000 miles of fields and orchards. 8 million flyers were distributed worldwide. But this search broke new ground in an unexpected way. Two Petaluma residents, Gary French and Bill Rhodes, along with journalist Larry Magid, made a decision that changed missing person investigations forever. They uploaded Polly's picture to the internet. Remember, this was 1993. The World Wide Web was brand new, but Polly's image spread globally. It was the first missing child case to go viral online. Over 2 billion digital impressions. Yet, despite everything, investigators were missing crucial information. Here's where this case gets almost unbelievable. On the night of October 1st, about 90 minutes after Polly was kidnapped, two Sonoma County Sheriff's deputies got a call about a possible trespasser. They found a car stuck in a ditch on a remote road called Pythian Road, about 25 miles north of Petaluma. The driver appeared to be someone who'd gotten lost. The deputies searched his vehicle. They found an open container of beer. They ran his information. Then they called a tow truck to free his car. They let him go. The man's name was Richard Allen Davis. What those deputies didn't know was that hidden in the brush on the hillside above them, just feet away, lay 12-year-old Polly Klaas. She was already dead. But here's the critical detail. The Petaluma police had issued a description of the suspect and his vehicle. However, they had requested the media blackout. They didn't want it to be made public. The unintended consequence? The bulletin wasn't distributed to other law enforcement agencies. The deputies at the scene had no idea who they were dealing with. They were standing face to face with Polly's killer, with her body hidden mere yards away, and they had no idea. For 2 months, the search continued. 60,000 tips came in. Investigators followed 12,000 leads. Then, on November 27th, a woman named Dana Jeff was for hiking on her property near Pythian Road. She found something suspicious: red children's tights, a sweatshirt, and cloth that matched the bindings used on Polly. Investigators pulled up records from that October night. There was a field interrogation card for someone detained at that exact location. The name was Richard Allen Davis. When they ran his background, what came back was shocking. In 1976, Davis was convicted of kidnapping. He served 5 years in 1984. He committed violent robberies and assaulted women. He served 8 years of a 16-year sentence. Richard Allen Davis had been released from prison in June 1993, just 4 months before kidnapping Polly. The FBI's forensic team went back to Polly's bedroom. They'd found an invisible palm print on her bunk bed using alternative light sources. Now they tested it against Davis's record, and it was a match. On December 1st, 1993, investigator Mike White visited Davis in his isolation cell. White leaned close and mouthed 3 words. They found it. Davis knew it was over. On December 4th, 1993, Richard Allen Davis confessed in a videotape statement. He admitted to entering the house, tying up the girls, and driving around with Polly. Then he said something chilling. It's just knowing that letting her go, I'd be going back to the joint. He knew if he released Polly, she'd identify him. He'd violated parole. He'd go back to prison. So he made a choice. He strangled her. Later that day, Davis led police to Polly's body. After 64 days of searching, 4,000 volunteers, 60,000 tips, 8 million flyers distributed across the world, the investigation ended in a desolate field. Mark Klaas and Eve Nicole were told their daughter was never coming home. The trial began on April 17, 1996. The evidence was overwhelming. The palm print, testimony from Polly's surviving friends, his videotape confession, and forensic evidence. On June 18, 1996, the jury found Richard Allen Davis guilty of first-degree murder with special circumstances that made him eligible for the death penalty. On August 5, 1996, the jury recommended death, but Davis wasn't finished inflicting pain. At his sentencing, he was given the opportunity to speak. He made a vile, false claim about Polly, designed purely to hurt her father. When Mark Klaas heard it, he lunged toward Davis. Bailiffs had to restrain him. As Davis was led from the courtroom, he extended both middle fingers at the television camera. Judge Thomas Hastings told Davis, "Mr. Davis, you made it very easy today by your conduct." Richard Allen Davis was sentenced to death. He remains on California's death row today. But the Polly Klaas case didn't end with a conviction. In the aftermath, California was gripped by one question: how was this allowed to happen? How could a man with kidnapping convictions be released early? How could a repeat offender be walking free? On March 7, 1994, just 5 months after Polly's murder, California passed what became known as the 3 strikes law.
Now, those who commit crimes should be punished, and those who commit repeated violent crimes should be told, when you commit a third violent crime, you will be put away and put away for good. 3 strikes and you are out.
But the law went further than expected. Any felony could count as a third strike. People received 25 to life sentences for stealing pizza or shoplifting. By 2024, over 21,000 people were serving double sentences under the law. It contributed to mass incarceration, overcrowded prisons, and devastating impacts on communities. In 2012, voters reformed it to require that third strikes be serious or violent felonies.
We're putting people away for life when their third strike is a non-violent crime, like stealing aspirin.
The case also transformed how we search for missing children. It pioneered internet-based searches and community mobilization efforts still used today. But perhaps most importantly, it shattered the belief that children are safe in their own bedrooms. The Polly Klaas case forced us to confront uncomfortable truths about our justice system. It reminds us that one girl mattered. Her name was Polly Hannah Klaas. And 30 years later, the questions remain. What have we learned? And are we truly any safer?